Friends, the President, Dr. Vivekananda, the convener of the seminar, Dr. Vincent J. Kumar, the private donor and the organizers against this ICSSR sponsored conference, Dr. S.N. Kumar, distinguished body, our good friends and colleagues, whose faces and whose association I very largely treasure, Dr. Ganesan, former principal of this college, and economics professor who I don't see but I wish to recall, Dr. Swaminathan, the former principal, Dr. Harrier, the ubiquitous here, we see in all economic conferences. Even they are Madurai, but it's a great regard of the days of Dr. Kumar, then Vice Chancellor. We have the distinguished principal of the Reserve Bank of India College and many others. And my youngest, latest research scholar, Dr. B. Krishnamurthy, was completed a work on private-public partnership. And friends, I am deeply touched by the rare privilege of being here in the Vivekananda College, whose founders and promoters have been in one way by patrons and benefactors, in another way by most esteemed colleagues. Dr. D.S. Loganathan, a historic figure who donated the entire library collection to this college. Suvaraya, whose family is so intimately known, my own ancestral family of lawyers for a long time, and whose family there was a brilliant research scholar who turned out to be economic advisor to the Commerce Ministry of the Government of India, and later the Directorship of India, who I remember as a brilliant RBA scholar between Dr. Vasanta, and many of the thoughts crowd in memory. The most important one I want to put on record, the record we kept of this organization. It is Vivekananda College is one of the great institutions that makes similar contributions to the theory and practice of Gandhi economics in the personality of Professor Vasudev. His work and his services should be remembered by the historians of higher education. So indeed, a Sanskrit scholar, an actor par excellence, and good economist too, Dr. Ganesan worked with Vivekananda. I had the privilege of knowing Vivekananda speaking in high terms of the These names, Professor Kumar and Dr. Tirunakar, I hope you remember, they are recording the growth and economic studies in our schools. The theme that has been given to me for the inaugural is refers to infrastructure and internal issues. The terminology in exactitude has been one of the salient problems that have been haunting the teachers of economics in developed and also in underdeveloped. Professor Ursula Hicks has said, what dogs the development of public finance is that one subsists in the idea of income, forgetting all the time the Achilles heel of misfortunes that attend public expenditure. The biggest problem in my mind too, in respect of discussions in India over the last 3 or 4 decades, and more so in recent years, about infrastructure is that it is everybody's responsibility and not somebody's relevant responsibility. the opportunity cost of government is taking over the burden on providing infrastructure to entrepreneurs here and elsewhere who throng and would like to have a throwaway prices of land and would have all the facilities given to them only for them to sit and relax and limit profits to other countries. The enormous leakage of domestic national products because of the infrastructure expenditure on infrastructure is something that you cannot forget and we cannot wish to give. You have to give land at a throwaway price, and 10 years later, without performing the duty they are to perform, they will sell the land and get what is known as rent. This exploitation of the innocent and exploitation of less developed economies. India has privileged the largest economies. And probably because of that, India is not able to solve the problem of poverty. Economies are prosperous in this country, but the economy is not prosperous. But they simply the tools of analysis they have got, they don't use. And the tools of analysis they don't invent, they don't want to use. Let me talk one simple issue. There have been so many economies in the last half century in India whose names are well known, either referring to volumes or non-referring volumes. Again, a very peculiar euphemism in English language. The defense of capitalism was attempted by John Maynard Keynes, but to an extent it did succeed, with a very reluctant footnote in the first chapter of the Journal here. He said that the Marxist revolution in the Bolshevik Russia was largely because of the fact, contrary to the expectations of John Marx, that would occur in an industrial economy with the labor abuse, occurred in the peasant economy. Not because of economic reasons, but because of the misfortunes that Tsar achieved. So indeed, Samuelson entered this view. To be a good economist, Samuelson would say, you should have at least 60% of economics, but don't forget the other percent is 40% is history, philosophy, and all. The theme I am at now is there has been a consistent exploitation of some of the concepts of economics by industrialists and international investors. Money is available at 0.5%, 1.5%, and 0%, and sometimes -% as indeed Japan is threatening to give. The experts of the Reserve Bank will never know it. Dr. Ramakrishna is well aware of it. Merely because you can get about 8 to 9% in this country, whereas you cannot get more than 0.5% or 1% in your country. Money flows into your country. And the money flows into the country not because it is for investment in physical and human capital, but because you can get infrastructure at the expense of a poor country like India, Indonesia, or Malaysia, or South Africa. This exploitation must stop. You want to use the theory of opportunity cost. You want to use the theory of external economy. You use the simple concepts of comparative cost. You realize that much of the money that is invested in this country by foreign direct investment is simply because of the monetary phenomenon of the rates of interest. Is it not true, Madam, the principal of the Reserve Bank of India College here, that money comes into your country from the NRAs, not because of patriotism alone. Of course, to some extent, there is patriotism, that is not discount the goodness of our Telangana abroad, but because they can put your money here and get 8.5%. You put the money there, they won't get it. You can withdraw the money at any time because the bank allows you to take the money in the same currency within the state. What is the issue I am at now? This seminar, with enormous number of papers presented with them, should go into print. And it's going to print so that the money spent on paper, printing, reading, and the conference should be well utilized by having a real referee system there. And the referee system will not stop with checking the statistics and the mathematics and also the sources of reference. It is being done very well in India. Indian economy is well known for it, and therefore they are used in abundance as any other country there. But where is the theory in this presentation? The first theory that will be challenged in the studies of infrastructure development, who is to provide infrastructure? Is it not the responsibility of the entrepreneur to develop the land? Is it not the business of the businessmen and industrialists to supply electricity at a cost which will be less than the cost will government have? Is it not the responsibility of the industries and other people there to know what is the commodity that is required in the country? Is it a fashion good? Is it cosmetics? Or is it extremely luxurious fibers? Or the cotton that is going to be the most important textile material for a tropical country like India? In other words, there is no cost accounting. There is no cost-benefit analysis. The comparative costs are not being studied. The simple theories of international trade are not being applied. This is the duty of the teachers and students of economics. Professor Kumar, when they were introducing to me, had some nostalgic memories. What I was, you have mentioned to me. I want you to kindly remember about what I am. I am only a continuing student of economics for the last 60 years. Wondering what kind of economics is being taught and what kind of teachers we have had and what kind of teachers they have now and what kind of students are there. Those who have not gone to medicine and engineering, those who have not got admissions in the Ahmedabad Institute of Business Management, and those who have well become somebody else has become students of economics. The most important tragic situation in my mind of economic studies and development in India is that we do not have the best material for economic teaching and economic research. So, infrastructure I am worried about. The infrastructure of economic studies and research. Is it not true that writing a voluminous volume or will be said, where is the will to remove poverty? In the developing countries. How could the developing countries escape from poverty? And very literally, Sir John Dees has gone on record, and this is not a record, it's print and the minds of some of us there. He said if the economic poverty is removed, all economies will lose their jobs. So stupendous is the problem of poverty. The poverty arises because of the fact you don't want to remove poverty. The rich men, the men in authority, don't want to see slums. It is an eyesore for them. To have a pleasant view, you would like to pave the roads. But the man who is a slum dweller is not bothered about you have a pleasant view for you. He is bothered about a very elementary thing that you don't need water. You can go to New York City. You could go to Oxford University, not bother about the professors there, but be sure that you can take water in any street corner there and drink and be safe. Today you can't be safe even if you take bottled water. This supply of bottled water is an anathema. The fact that water is not available is safety measure. Your food grains are not safe to eat. Your hotels are not being surveyed by anything. These are the concerns of law and order of the state government, not provision of infrastructure, unless it be a very costly infrastructure, like an international airport for the city of Madras, like the collection port that the present government of Modi wants to create. These are things that the individual cannot do. In terms of 50,000 crores or 60,000 crores, you refer to Dr. Vivekananda, it is the duty of the government. But can't you take an example from the Tatas of Bombay, who supplied uninterrupted electricity supply for the last 60 years, during which the government of India, with all the Union Planning Commission and State Commission, could not provide with lighting. Is it not true that 10 to 15% of the money is spent on public works? Is it leaking? Would they leak if it is done by a private sector? No. I wouldn't argue therefore that there ought to be some section when you finally put this report here. What is the role of private sector? What is the role of public sector? And what will be the most cost-effective method of providing infrastructure? And now, on terminology inexactitude, I lament this issue. What whatever is required by the entrepreneurs. What will be lazy and still make enormous profits is the infrastructure. Roads must be laid, electricity must be given, land must be given there, security must be provided, and at the earliest opportunity, run away with the profits. Infrastructure design in ordinary time to submit is all abused in terms of modern economics. In the planned economy, it is even more a universally approved concept. A word more, I will shall not carry much long with the younger audience because I am probably swimming with some of the economic names abroad, which younger scholars may not know. Let me come to the ground level. The young students present here will be happy to know what kind of infrastructure they have got for education. This city of Madras has got one of the best libraries in the whole of Asia. If you want to study about the Portuguese rule, the Spanish rule, the British rule, and other rulers of this country, not only the Mughals if you want, you have the Tamil Nadu archives. How many teachers of economics have gone there? How many research scholars of economics in the city of Madras know it? The Madras University Library was run by one of the most eminent, innovative library in Vivekananda. The classification of the Madras University Library is a unique one. So the UNESCO said it shall be the research classification. Is there a library now? I have got my graduate friends in the city sitting there. They know the problems that are in there. Infrastructure higher education can be in terms of a common facility. The Dr. Malcolm Mandesha had the privilege of working for 6 long years in the university and 12 long years in the planning commission. We thought there should be a common facility of research materials in this country. It's not there. So why do you want to burden yourself, my young students and teachers in economics, with the burden of the planning commission and the burden of the cabinet of India and the state government? Can't you think in terms of your own house, where it is not in order? The libraries don't have a common facility. Some of the books available here, given by Vivekananda, must be accessed. These are the great economics India produced. Sir Ramakrishna when he became the first and second chairman of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, he was all over the world. He got 40 applications. Among them was the application of Vivekananda, the Senate. His competitors of Britain, his competitors of Canada, from America. He was selected on the basis of merit because he was a brilliant prize winner of the London School of Economics. He gave all the books to the library. There is a Pachepas College where the direct student of John Maynard Keynes, student named me, was a tutor for him, Professor Verai. I labored for months together to get all his books into Pachepas College. I do not know where it is and where it is not. My young friend, as I told you, 65-year-old, he used to move to a kind of work and private public partnership, special representative Pachepa. Should locate where the books there are not. They won't be there. In other words, the pilferage is not only in the laying of roads. The pilferage is in terms of higher education. That is the concern of your circle, my friend. And that is the concern of the teachers of economics. I wanted to say several other times. I looked into the materials there. You talk about pollution. 60% of the world's pollution is coming from the United States of America. Only 7% from India and 9% from China. And everybody goes to international conferences to know how India will reduce pollution by withdrawing the buses and the auto rickshaw from New Delhi. And the Supreme gives very political returns about it. What is the pollution we are talking related to what's happening yesterday? And the urban people are talking about it. The rural pollution is hardly half a percent. The urban pollution is about 5%. In other words, the learned should be really learners. Ethics in economics, ethics in public life, and ethics in governance are more matters of importance in economic studies than probably mere statistics and mathematics bandying about the growth rate and non-growth rate. I shall not carry long except to share with you 3 more issues I came to talk about. Statistics is one of the tools that can be used as a surgeon's knife or like a murderous weapon. Very often, in my opinion, much of economics is mistaken for statistics. You read any of the papers presented in conferences,
national and international, the Indian or Indian argument. In fact, it's full of theory. Very little theory and enormous theories. My own point is, you must have a judicious combination of theory and practice. I thought one issue and challenge the matter today. Gandhi, I referred to, gave a very interesting original contribution. To my mind, one of the very few original contributions of Indians. He argued the theory of trusteeship. He said, let people create them. Permit them to create them. Let them realize, educate them, that the wealth they created is not their wealth. The wealth is because of road laid by the public. Wealth is because education developed over centuries of time. Wealth is because the land that has gone to nationalism and many other concepts. If the concept of trusteeship is there, capitalism will not be under discount. If the concept of trusteeship is there, we will not worry about who is spending the money, who is not spending the money on sector. So I would like to wind up this argument by saying that this subject chosen by you is a good subject for the simple reason that is the one that is engaging the attention of the country. But instead of merely paying the benefit tributes to the men in authority, we have to argue that infrastructure is one of the factors of production. And those who bring the factors of production in harmony for the purpose of producing either good or a service ought to be sure that they bear the costs, so that cost plus will be the price and the profit will be there. And if the profit is with the external economies, they will share the profit with the external economies. The government and the taxpayer or the philanthropist will give it. These are matters of high-level economics there. Thank you for having me patient in listening to my